you, Senator Tuberville. Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Sutton, you have probably as much knowledge about the cyber landscape as anybody in this country. Give us just a few seconds about how bad is it? I don't think the public realizes the level of cyber threat that we're under right now, and the fact that it is happening right now in institutions across the government, but also in the private sector. I guess my question is, how bad is it?
So, Senator, as our society has grown increasingly dependent on internet-connected items, if you think about the number of things in your home that are connected to the internet, if we think about across the military, how we're going to need data connectivity, that certainly poses a very large attack surface that the adversary can go after.
And 85% of that attack surface is in the private sector, is that correct?
That is correct. Coupled with all of the technology that's available, like generative AI, has made it very easy and a very low bar to be able to come in and exploit vulnerabilities in this system.
Well, we worked together back 3 or 4 years ago in enacting the recommendations of the Cyberspace Solarium Commission, but the threat has evolved rapidly since then and is in fact even more serious today than it was just 3 years ago. Is that correct?
I couldn't agree with you more. What I would also like to highlight, though, is that as the threat has evolved, so has the department and the federal government and how we respond, both from posture to be able to impose cost and defend forward, which is where we have grown increasingly capable over the last 7 years, as well as working with private industry to take lessons that we've learned from the Department of Defense, where we see malicious activity, where we see malware, to being able to share that with private industry so that it gets put into cybersecurity products that are used across the private industry to really leverage the knowledge that we gain from within the Department of Defense to make sure that we're protecting not only the Department of Defense, but also have that secondary effect across the nation.
When we talk about the Department of Defense, we're also talking about the defense industrial base, which includes thousands of supply chain contractors who are also vulnerable, and it creates a very serious problem in terms of our cyber defenses in a time of conflict. I would submit that the first 3 hours of a major conflict will be all about cyber. Would you agree?
I believe that cyber is going to be fundamental as a domain of warfare in any future conflicts with adversaries. And one of the unique challenges about cyber is that much of this activity happens below the level of armed conflict. So even today, we have our cyber forces engaging with adversaries below the level of armed conflict on a daily basis, but will also play a key role in crisis and conflict going forward.
Chairman Wicker and Senator Cotton all mentioned deterrence, and I believe that's one of the most important factors. As I think Senator Cotton characterized it, we're not going to be able to defend ourselves if we're in a defensive crouch at all times. We need to have both the capability for offensive cyber, but also, I believe, we need a stated doctrine. Everyone in the world knows our doctrine of deterrence in nuclear armaments, for example. People should also understand a doctrine of deterrence that if you attack us in cyberspace, there will be a response. It may not be cyber, it may be something else. But one of the problems, as I've looked back over the past 25 years, we still haven't responded to the Sony hack. We haven't responded to Volt Typhoon. There's no price to pay for our adversaries. I hope in your counsels within the Defense Department and the administration, you'll argue for a serious and substantial cyber deterrent stated policy. If it's not stated, a deterrent doesn't work.
Senator, if confirmed, I look forward to working with you on the committee on making sure that we have the right posture and it's well articulated so that our adversaries are understanding, but that also we can prioritize our resources so that we're supporting and well postured to execute that.
Thank you very much. General Tata, we won't have time for extensive questions. This restructuring of the Pentagon, including an 8% reduction in staff, is something, if that's going to happen, my concern is that it happen in a more thoughtful and systematic way than what happened in some of the other areas of our government over the past 2 or 3 months. That kind of cut could either be increase efficiency or destroy morale and undercut the mission of the department. So that's going to be a major challenge, I think the major challenge that you face should you be confirmed in this position.
Senator, if confirmed, I look forward to working with you and this committee on that, and I agree aligning personnel policy with the national security and defense strategies will become paramount to make sure that we don't have personnel gaps where we actually need trained and ready personnel, whether it's in the workforce or on the front line.
Thank you.
Help the people
Thank you.
making those decisions know what they're doing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator